Okay, in the last video, we worked on getting all of our studs mounted on our letters. And in this one, we're going to start working on the paint. Now, we're going to hit all these with 80 grit. I know it's pretty aggressive, but the primer will fill it in. I want it to bond really well. So we're going to use an orbital with 80 grit sandpaper. And then we're going to wipe everything down with some denatured alcohol or fuel, whatever. And then we're going to hang them all up in our paint booth, and I'll show that in just a minute. But for spraying, I got a Harbor Freight Black Widow HTE gun. I did a couple test patches. This thing's awesome for the price. I did get a water separator and a air pressure regulator right on the gun. That's pretty important for when you're spraying. Now, for our product, I'm going to use Rust Stuff primer for this. Now, I'm using their base enamel for the actual color on the letters too. And I did that because Rust-Oleum, you can't get it tinted. This, at Lowe's, you can get it tinted in any color you want, and that was what I needed. So that's why I'm using this. When I mix this, I'm going to do 9 parts primer and 1 part mineral spirits. That way it lays down nice, and it's going to take a little bit longer to harden because I'm using mineral spirits. It takes longer to flash off. But acetone is just too hot for this product, so it's not going to work the best. So that's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to show you the paint booth now. Okay, so I picked up a Weber paint booth. It's about a 8-foot by 12-foot booth, and it's going to work great for what I'm doing. So I've got all the letters in here. They're not prepped yet, obviously, but I've got them stringed up on the top. This is not how I'm going to hang them when they paint. I was just kind of seeing how much room I have, and I want to be able to spray both sets in here at the same time. I don't want to have to do 2 and wait for dry times, but I'll show you how I'm going to do that. This thing's pretty awesome for the price. It's got air that comes in, and it does have filters, so that's good. And it's going to work great for what I'm doing. So I'm going to start prepping all the letters, sanding them and everything, and then I'll show you how I'm going to hang them all in here efficiently to where I can move them and not have to touch them too much. Okay, once again, my plans have changed from what I originally was going to do. So my dad came out here today, helped me start sanding all these, and it was just taking way too long with an orbital, doing each letter, the front and the back. So he had a good idea, and we switched it up. I ended up setting up the sandblaster and just sandblasting them all. And honestly, it put a better finish on it than the just hitting it with an orbital. So this is what we've got now. Really consistent, smooth finish. Really good. So this is how I'm hanging them all. I just took hangers and tie wire, and I tie wired them on the threads. Now I taped all the threads off so I don't have to deal with cleaning them later. And then I marked on here first set and second set. That way if there's any difference between the 2 sets for some reason, I know what's what. So now it's a bit of a mess in here, but now I need to, these are all sandblasted. I just need to start putting them on the hangers and wiping them down with denatured alcohol to get them ready to spray. And hopefully I can get a coat of paint or a coat of primer on all these tonight and let it harden for a little while. But I'll come back after I get these all hung up and I'm ready to prime. Okay, I got everything prepped. Here's what we're looking like. Everything's hung up nice. All gonna work. Obviously, I'm not gonna spray them right here. I'll move the hanger to the center, spray it, and rehang it. But I was hoping to paint it tonight, but it just got too late. So I think I'm gonna get a couple hours of sleep, because if I push it, I know I'm gonna make mistakes and cut corners when I'm this tired, so it's not worth it. It's almost 1 in the morning, so it'd be better to just spray it tomorrow in the morning, probably 8 o'clock or something. I'm gonna seal this up so no dust gets on everything, because everything's been wiped down with it's been wiped down with denatured alcohol, so I don't want any dust resettling on everything. But other than that, I'll probably see you guys in the morning, and we will work on getting everything sprayed. And then we're gonna have to let it sit for probably 2 to 2.5 days, just because it's a oil base, and I really want it to harden up before I keep putting coats on. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, I got a couple hours of sleep. I think I'm ready to start painting. I got my gun set up with our 9-to-1 primer mix. So 10 parts mineral spirits, 9 parts or 90 parts paint, primer, whatever. I got this set to about 20 psi. You do that when you squeeze the trigger and then set it to 20, so that's what you're actually doing when you spray. I got my fan set up how I want it, and everything is laid out nice. So hopefully nothing goes wrong, everything lays down nice. I don't want to put it on too heavy, and I'm going to do what I call it, it's called a tack coat. So you put a real light, almost like dust on it first, let it tack for a second, and then you put a full coat on it. It really helps it to bond. So I'm going to set up the GoPro outside the booth so it doesn't get any paint on it. Do a time lapse and hopefully get all this painted in maybe a half hour, hopefully no longer, and then get out of here because it's going to stink. So I'm going to set that up. Okay, we got it all sprayed. It turned out great. There's our final finish. It's hard to see with the lighting in here, but they look good. Got everything done. But I am brown, so I'm gonna go home and shower, but we're gonna leave this for a good couple days because I'm not in a rush. So I'm gonna let it harden really good. Turn the heat up in here, open this up so there's positive pressure in here, and then we'll come back in a couple of days and start working on getting ready for the base coat color. Okay, it's been about 8 hours since I've sprayed, so I'm gonna go see how everything's looking. Ooh, it's warm in here. All right, let's see how hot it got in here with the heat on. There we go. Nice and warm. That'll be good. I want to see how everything flashed off. Didn't get any anything bad reactions or anything, hopefully. Well, everything's still up, so that's good. Trying to get a light on that finish. Looks great. Got everything done. So, but that's not why I came back here. Right when I went home, a package showed up, so I don't think I talked about this much, or even at all, but I'm planning on putting a American flag on the container as well, and it took a little while longer to get than all the other letters because I ordered it from a different company, just because it was a lot cheaper than Send Cut Send. So it took about 3 weeks to get. Now, the thing is, it came messed up. Not because anything they did. Mainly it's FedEx's fault. They dropped the pallet and all sorts of stuff. So
This was bent up when I got it, and I tried to flatten it down, but as you can see, and get the light on there, right? The metal is fatigued, and this one down here is worse, and I'm worried that it's gonna break, and it's not flat. I don't know if you can see, but it's not good. So I got it from Xometry, so I contacted them, and I'm gonna see if they can't get me another set quickly. If they can, we'll go that route, but if they can't, we're just gonna have to make it work, and I'll have to hammer it flat the best I can and try and make sure I don't put any more stress on that. But other than that, they look great, and they came out deburred and ready to paint, so that's awesome. I don't have to do any prep work. So I'm gonna see what Xometry does about that. Now, another problem I had was the stud gun. So on the last stud, of course, I went to take the collet off, and it actually broke. So in the gun, that copper piece that's threaded, it snapped off inside of this one. You can't see, but it broke off inside of there, which is part of the gun. So Vever's going to send me a new one for free, obviously. So I can't wait. I can't put studs on the American signs anyways, the American flag sign anyways. So I might as well just see if they can't get me new ones and whatever happens. But we're going to let this all dry really good, leave it for a couple days, and then see. We're going to start painting the black on the back side. That way, when I go to spray the front gold on it, I don't get any overspray on the gold finish with the black. But I've got quite the mess to clean up in here. So I'm going to clean up, leave this for a couple days, get it hardened, and then we'll come back. Okay, it's been a couple days. It's Thursday afternoon right now, a little after 1, and I sprayed these on Monday morning, so they've had a good time to dry. Now, what I'm going to do is spray the back of them first, because the fronts are going to be the finished look, and I'd rather have overspray from the front on the back than the back on the front. So the backs are going to get a black color, and what I'm going to do is sand these down with some 400 grit sandpaper and get them really nice. Try and get that sandblast finish out of it before I spray the base coat. And then the fronts I'm not going to sand because I don't want to scuff them up and have to sand them again when I go to do the gold. So I did a little bit of a test with 400 grit. You can see how the sandblasting left that finish on there, and it's rough. I took it right out with some 400 grit, and it feels good. So now I just got to sand all the backs of these, and then we'll come back and spray them all black. Okay, I started sanding these with some 400 grit sandpaper. This is kind of what we're going for. You can't see, but it's really smooth. Lesson learned, don't scrub with the denatured alcohol on the fresh primer because it will take it off. So I just got to do this for all the other letters, and then we'll shoot it with some black, and then we'll start working on the fronts. All right, I've been working on getting my mix right, and I did a couple test pieces for the back side of the letters. So my first one didn't turn out quite how I wanted it. If you can see, it's got some orange peel in it, and it's hard to tell, but you can see the orange or red primer through it underneath. I thinned it way too much. So that's primarily because I didn't know how I was mixing it. I watched Whitley Auto Works, I think his channel is, and he did a lot of explaining on doing rust tough paint jobs, and he does a great job of that. Now, In his, he did a 70% to 30%. And for whatever reason, I messed it up in my measuring cup. I used this cup and I messed it up. So I switched over to my cup on my gun, and I used the 3-to-1 mix on it. I filled it to that first one, then I put thinner to the next one. I used mineral spirits for my thinner. And then up to the 10% mark, I used catalyst hardener. So once you add that in, though, you got to be careful because it'll set up and you can't leave it in your gun for more than a couple hours or you'll have problems. So after I did it that way in the cup, I thinned it down the second time. It sprayed a lot nicer. Let me show you. Looks way better. Awesome finish. I know it's hard to tell. I need to get better lighting in here, really. But it turned out way better. So there's still a little bit of junk in it here and there. So I don't know. Probably going to have to wet sand them. I know I really shouldn't. But that's probably what I'm going to do just to get the best finish. So now I got to sand all of those, mix up more of a batch, paint them all, and then I'll come back and show you what we're going to do next. Okay, it's been a long day. I almost got everything sanded. I switched to wet sanding because that paint is just too gummy and it messes up my pad too quick and it's just not working good. So wet sanding helped a lot. Now, I've been fighting it all day, so I haven't filmed much, but I can't seem to get the orange peel out of the finish. I don't know. I tried different ratios. I tried spraying differently. And I just don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'll have to figure that out tomorrow. I got all the bigger letters sprayed. Everything except, I think, the T's. I don't have the black on yet. But I don't care about the finish on the back too much because I'm not going to see it. But I was trying to practice so I can get a really nice finish on the face where you're going to see. I want it to be like a car paint finish. So I just don't know what I'm doing wrong with this orange peel. So I'll have to figure that out. But for today, that's it. Okay, I got my methods down finally with the paint. I went ahead and re-sanded everything that I did test patches on. So some of these have black on them, but that's fine. So that way I can get a good coat on everything in here. So I have it all ready to go. Now I got to go pick up my brothers from school quick, so I'm going to do that, come back, mix up a big batch of paint, and get a couple coats of black on all this stuff and let it dry for about 24 hours. It's not like the primer where it needs a lot more time to dry because I put a hardener in it, so it should be good to go, and then we'll start working on the faces. Okay, I'm back from getting the boys. I got a batch mixed up with my gun, and I'm going to set up the time lapse and start spraying. I'm going to put a tack coat down first, then we'll come back in 10 minutes and put a medium to heavy coat on, wait 20 minutes, put another coat on, and I might do a third heavy coat. We'll see what it looks like, but I think 2 will do just fine. So let's go to the time lapse. Sorry, the battery ran out on the time lapse while I was spraying. But I got a coat on everything, a tack coat and one heavy coat. I'm a little short on paint, so I'm going to mix up another batch and spray it. But I'll show everything once it's dried out. If you noticed, I didn't wait the 20 minutes like I said. That's because by the time I sprayed the first one and I sprayed the last one, it took about 20 minutes. So I just kept rolling through it. So I'm going to mix up another batch, spray this one more time, and then I'll show it when it's all dry. All right, I got all the coats on. I ended up doing 3 heavy coats, and I'm really happy with it. There's no runs or anything. It's getting late again, but I did a little research, and I really have no option but to spray the clear right now. So I just got done spraying. I'm going to give it an hour. So it's going to be a late night, whatever. But I'm going to have to show how I mix the clear and everything, the ratios and stuff the next day, and what I'm using for clear. But for tonight, it turned out good. The lighting in here is bad, but you can see the reflection on it. And everything's done. So I'm gonna clean my gun out, mix up some clear, try and go home. All right, let's spray some clear and go home. It's the next day. It's been a little over 12 hours since I've sprayed the clear and base coat. There were no reactions or anything between the clear and the base coat, so that's good. And everything is to my liking. There is still a little bit of orange peel, but it's the backside, I don't care. And on the front, I'm gonna cut and buff it just to get it really nice. And to be honest, it's a $50 paint, so I'm not expecting that highly of it anyways, but overall the finish is really nice. So I'm going to talk about the clear that I used quick, and then that's about it for this video. In the next one, because it's getting long, in the next one we'll work on painting the faces gold, and I got a little something different for the clear, but you'll have to see for that one. Alright, for my clear coat I chose Sherwin-Williams Finished One line. It sprayed really nice through my Harbor Freight gun, and it laid down like glass. For the hardener, I chose their FH612 hardener, which is a medium hardener, and that was the best for my conditions that I was spraying in. If you watch till the end, thank you. I appreciate everyone who does. And keep watching in the next video. Hopefully we finish up all the painting on the letters and get to working on the next step.